For the latest top tips, reviews and advice, please subscribe below.
Hello and welcome to Attwoolls Camping and Leisure. Me, Mike. Today I'm giving you guys a review on a caravan awning from Kampa. This here is the Kampa Frontier Air Pro. So it's a model that came onto the market in 2017 and was a huge success because it was just completely different to anything else that was available for a caravan awning. It's inflatable, so it's very quick and easy to put up. And you can obviously check out our own Attwoolls pitching and packing videos on how it goes up and down. And like I say, just myself pretty much put it up and down on my own. And admittedly, it does with two people, makes it easier, but you can physically do it on your own, as you can see. On this massive success of last year, they've actually introduced a new size. So the 400, which is the one we see here, which was basically based on the Ace Air 400, the best-selling caravan awning across Europe in air anyway. And like I said, it has sort of three panels, like a panoramic front, so it's 3 meters deep and obviously 4 meters wide. So they've introduced a Frontier Air Pro 300, which essentially is taking this middle section out. And so you've got two nice big panels, same with the wings as well. And that's based again on the Ace Air 300. Ta-da! 300. So you kind of see a little bit of a trend on point here. But really nice model. It uses Kampa's Pro fabric, so it's very waterproof, and it's one they've actually ran through for many years now. You've got a single point inflation for the whole of the awning. So again, you've got 1 point located here, which will pump it up and then disperse itself through the inner tubes everywhere you go. But you've got several deflation points, which obviously helps it taking it down. So every single bottom part of the beam, there's a deflation valve you can open up and the air obviously then comes out as it needs to be. The joys, yet again, when you actually feed it through there, through the awning rail, you can take the individual panels at the front here out. So these main three can be completely zipped out. Just reduce the weight slightly when you're feeding it through the awning rail. Personally, when I've done the pitching video, you can see I've left all the panels in place just to make it, a little bit quicker. One thing you do get supplied with this is a pump. So it's a sort of dual action hand pump. Personally, I think for this particular model, I would buy the Gale pump. It's very good value and actually will save you an awful lot of sort of pumping up. You can just sit back, relax and do what you want to do. Certain features are unique to sort of Kampa, and they have a sort of this guy rope system where actually it pegs the base of the awning out as well as the actual guy rope point itself. So it basically requires less pegs to put the whole thing up. So you peg it out and then you can adjust the strap like so. These extra wings are quite nice as well, and there's actually a door built into them. So if you wanted to, for any reason, you can quite happily unzip that and use that as an entrance to go through. But that's one thing you do benefit from it, is the fact that you've got so many different entrances. You kind of have it big, nice and open if you wanted to. So you can actually roll that back, take this panel out, and then roll that back as well, so it can be completely open at the front. But we'll talk a bit more about certain different features as we head inside. But one thing to make sure is that actually for the 2018 collection, there's a big change for the Frontier and Kampa's air awnings in general. So you've got a 2-pitch roof. So what it does allows you to have more height at the front, but still helps with drainage. The other thing as well is they've actually made these a little bit more boxier, yet again to create more height inside of here. Certainly you can really tell when we head inside. So let's see what it's got to offer. So now we're inside the awning, you kind of get a bit more grasp for how it is on the inside. And one thing you do notice straight away is obviously the beautiful view you've got around you. And the fact that you've got so many window panels allow so much light inside of here, and it just makes it seem beautiful and crystal. And the joys is they've actually up-spec'd the material in the windows. So the PVC is actually a thicker grade now, so get more durability, and yet again it just helps to make it look even more sharper when you have the awning up. The dual pitch roof, what you can quite see is quite a big difference, and certainly I, now being 6'2", can stand up right underneath this beam, and it just makes it feel a lot more roomy in here for the same amount of depth that you had for the 2017 model. Like I said, because it's based on the Ace, you get the joys of the Ace in terms of imagining if it was cut off here, that's your Ace back to there. And you've got these almost like 2 wings that are sort of bolted onto the side of it, which just, yet again, give you external room if you want to. You do have the ability of putting an inner bedroom in the one end. So you've got basically the end where the camera is on the other side there. There's little toggles for the inner bedroom. So it's only one-sided. This end, unfortunately, you can't do that, which I think for me is a little bit of a shame, but who knows? It just gives you extra room as you want to. Kampa are very about, in terms of their name, probably #1 name certainly in air awnings, and they've actually made the beams slightly bigger as well, just to give you more structural strength. Not that you essentially needed it, but how? If it's not going to do any damage, why not give it a little bit more? And yet again, you can quite see the isolation taps you got here. So the joys of the isolation taps means that when you actually put it up, leave them all open. So it's 1 point inflation for that reason. So the air basically disperses through these taps, and when it's actually up, you can then just turn it off, and then every individual beam is then separated. So if, God forbid, you did have a failure or a leak on one particular beam, you can quite literally just take that out, quite simply undo that, unzip this, pull it out, and just repair or replace the bladder. So it's a very simple system to do, and it's something that, again, Kampa with their after sale team are normally pretty good on getting spare parts to customers like yourselves. One thing again to help with light is you've got these lovely little PVC window lights on top, so it really helps to give, even on sort of a dull, dingy day, a lot of light coming through here. So when you want to have your privacy with the curtains, which obviously you can put on as you like to, sort of traditional caravan curtains, you get your privacy, but you're still not compromising with light. The actual, yet again, with the curtain clip, it changed it last year. It was a really nice thing, just a quite simple process rather than that sort of hard plastic thing. That little detail there just makes it a lot easier, and it's the small things that make quite a bit of difference. The ability of the panels having a Velcro points down here to keep the panel looking nice and tight. The little curtain retainer here, so you can actually have the curtains in place. It's not going to hang out because obviously the slope on the slight front. And one sort of thing that we were looking to do last year in 2017 and carried on to do 2018 is introduce a second zip. So you've now got the main part where the door is, so you've got one zip there, and there's a second zip located behind it. This is so you can actually put a mesh panel and zip the mesh panel into it. So if you wanted to kind of create like a veranda, so because you've got dual zips, you can kind of bring it down, create a veranda, and have a circulation there. So with this mesh panel, by zipping it in, you obviously keep the circulation, but keep the bugs and critters at bay. And it's something you can buy in a mesh set. But because I'll say this is basically the same size pretty much as the Ace 400, you need to look at buying the Ace 400 mesh panels. Same with things like the carpet. The carpet, which comes in cushioned or a sort of easy tread carpet, you buy basically the main part is the Ace 400, and then buy the wings as a separate item. So you normally see, if you want to buy the carpet or anything like that, it's Ace 400 and then the Frontier extensions, which are the two pods obviously either side built onto it. So that's where you've got to make sure you're ordering the correct components there. You've got numerous obviously extras you can look at putting on this particular item. Things like you've got Velcro tabs here for the saber lights, which works really, really well. And the saber lights here, you can have one point which links up to 3 lights on one single socket. So you can always check out that video if you want more information on that. Things, your points for lanterns. So a lot of people say, what are these little things for? So black ones are for inner bedrooms. So you can buy an inner bedroom to go inside the actual awning on the main body. And then the white one is basically for roof liners, which go in there. Yet again, it's the Ace 400 roof liner you require. And there's over the little extras you can things of like limpets, which are really good things. A sucker system designed basically to keep this part nice and tight to the caravan, as well as rear back poles to work with it and keep a nice draft thing. So you can check out our camper accessory video, goes through all the little features you can actually add to the awning itself. Like I said, one thing I do like about the awning is because only it's 4 meters attachment on the rail there, but it gives you nearly 8 meters span overall. So one thing is you can actually make it bigger than your caravan as such. And certainly with the new size of the 300, obviously again there's only 3 meters on the attachment and overhangs. And I think really the 300 is probably going to be the more compatible size for most vehicles, and it's not overly big, if you see what I mean. So again, the pack size is a little bit smaller, but still gives you the same sort of depth and sort of width. You know, just obviously a little bit smaller, but I think probably commercially that's the one you probably will see more on the campsites than sort of the big 400. Into the external parts here, a new change for the 2018 season is they've introduced a mesh panel fixed in here. Previously, last year, it was a fixed window, and you had little curtains that pulled across like you have here, but on the outside now you can actually roll it up and have this beautiful big mesh panel to really help with circulation inside the awning. And that's one thing where the material is very waterproof, it's not necessarily breathable, so ventilation panels can be a real key issue. If you have sort of storage lockers underneath here, this panel, as you can see, can be actually zipped back, so you can access them with ease. So that can basically be zipped back, and again, just pull it back, and you can roll that back if you want to have it open all the time. As you can see, there is a window in place there, which again, you've got curtains, so if you want to obviously allow light into the caravan, if you've got a window in place like we have here, you can still do that without having to tinker too much with the awning itself. Overall, I think the Frontier is a really good model, and certainly I think ones that we've displayed at our indoor showroom at Attwoolls, so you can always come and see it up on display. And that's one thing I think we were the only company in the whole country displaying the Frontier last year, and that's going to carry on into the 2018 season, so definitely come out and have a look at that. But really positive model. Things like limpets and things like that I think are kind of a must. And there are a few bread and butter items that we say you probably want to go for when you're looking at the actual awning and the extras to go with it as well. But impressive model, some really nice additional changes for the 2018 season with the bigger beams, the pitched roof, and I think that really does help to make it. And yet again, the more important price, they've made all these improvements and it's still the same price as it was last year, so it just suddenly becomes even better value. But yeah, really nice model, and certainly one that we'll be stocking and displaying at our Attwoolls show.